Hey guys, Ronan Reaper here. Going outside the cinemas, different cinemas I usually go to. I was away for the weekend, so I figured I'd come here. I'm about to catch a screening of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Really looking forward to this. I do enjoy the Ant-Man films, particularly the first. The second one's fine as well, but it's not as good as one of the weaker MCU films. But the Ant-Man films are generally light-hearted fun, and this, looks on a much bigger scale, which, hopefully is good, because, I'll give Ant-Man real stakes and actually real weight in the larger MCU, because this is introducing Kang, which I'm very excited about. I'm glad to see Jonathan Majors getting all these big franchise roles, because he's in Creed 3 next as well. So, won't waste too much more time. Head in, get my snacks, get my seat, and enter the quantum realm. Okay, so I've got my red frozen Fanta and I've got a popcorn ready to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. No, this is not enlarged with blue pim particles. This is shrunk down with red pim particles. So yeah, just back from the quantum realm, sorry, the cinema, seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. This was an interesting one for multiple reasons. Number one, it was the introduction of the new franchise big bad Kang. Number two, this is a massively larger scale Ant-Man film. And number three, I was curious to see what I thought of it, because this is only the second time an MCU film has landed a rotten rating. The first being The Eternals, which I didn't mind, but hey oh, what do I know? So what did I think of it? Let's find out. So we see Scott Lang following the blip, adjusting to his new life on Earth. He's a big celebrity in San Francisco. People are constantly hailing him on the street, high-fiving him, asking for them to take pictures of their dogs. He's got an Employee of the Century plaque at his former employer, Baskin Robbins, and even a local barista recognizes his deeds, even if he mistakenly refers to him as Spider-Man, and is now essentially a part of the Pym family, him and his daughter Cassie. And Cassie, Hank, and Hope have been developing a device which sends signals to and from the quantum realm. A test goes wrong, and they end up down there encountering all manner of wacky weirdness, and the re-emergence of Janet's past from her long years in the quantum realm, including Kang. So, as I've said, this is the second rotten film in the MCU. It's got a real mixed reception. I gotta say though, I actually had a good time with this. I did enjoy myself. It's not perfect, obviously, but for the most part, I was pretty satisfied. Admittedly, I liked the bigger sense of scale and more weighty, serious tone with actual consequences for the MCU. Sure, you're left sort of pining for the lightness of touch of the first two films. Michael Pena's absence here is absolutely felt. The jokes here sometimes do land with a few chuckles, but for the most part, this is more serious stuff. So it's unfortunately that lightness is gone, but it's made up for by the characters themselves being very likable. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, once again likable as ever. He's as the sort of charismatic, lovable goofball who also has to step up in scenes of real emotional weight. He delivers these scenes with he commands them with like the necessary weight and and sturdy emotional grit that they absolutely demand. Michael Douglas, Evangeline Lilly, and Catherine Newton are all pretty good at saying that, though. Evangeline Lilly was kind of sidelined here as Hope. She was decent, but particularly on the Michael Douglas front, he was like pretty solid and likable as always. And I was kind of worried about the casting change in regards to Cassie, but Catherine Newton does make it work. Michelle Pfeiffer is also really good as Janet here. She's a bit more of like a sort of repressed trauma that's sort of bubbling itself up, and she sells it really well. We also have some fun little supporting characters, notably William Jackson Harper as this telepath. He's pretty funny. And we also have a small role from Bill Murray, sort of just doing the Bill Murray thing. He's pretty fun for what little screen time he has. But the far and away undisputed scene stealer of the film, Jonathan Majors as Kang, he is good, like really good. He's a properly commanding presence. He's intimidating. He's a physical force, and as they're setting him up, they even spring in these little layers of sympathy, before his true nature is revealed, and he's a really entertaining, complex villain presence. I'm so excited to see more of him. As much as they dumbed him down in Act 3, they still kept him as this like intimidating physical force that I am hyped to see more of. And also with this jump up in scale comes more out there visuals. Like the quantum realm as a setting is prized this really like weird, colorful canvas. It's solid stuff. Like yes, there is the occasional shot where you can absolutely pick out the trademark sloppy Marvel green screen where it's so obvious that it's just actors in front of a sound stage. But for the most part, the green screen does look fine. I think the vibrant quantum realm setting does work in its favor. And the CGI for some of these like weird out there things is pretty solid as well. And it means it, as a result, we have some strong, weird imagery, like a broccoli man and a character made up entirely of ooze who talks about like people's holes. He's pretty funny. There's also a bit of a Star Wars aesthetic to some scenes. It's undeniable. Like you can obviously tell the creators of this were watching Star Wars when brainstorming concept designs. And there's even some fun set pieces. Standout being this heist set in a probability storm. Like we're getting some genuinely striking imagery as multiple different possibilities just appear and multiply at will, and it's genuinely striking. It's the usual Ant-Man heist, but on a bit of a trip. It's a lot of fun. However, not all these visuals are great. The real letdown visually in regards to CGI is Modoc. I like Modoc as a villain. He's pretty fun, and I will admit, like whenever we see him floating around with the helmet on, he looks fine. But when he doesn't have the helmet on, Jesus, he looks terrible. Like, like the first time he unmasks, it is so awful. Like I could not help myself. I just burst out laughing. I think at least one other person at the screening did as well. It is awful, and the problem is you're trying to enjoy these serious scenes, and then Modoc will just be there on screen, and you just see his awful CGI face. He is atrocious. Like Modoc as a design was inherently gonna be goofy in live action, but not shouldn't be this goofy. it isn't even the only funny thing in regards to Modoc as well. There's one particular shot when they establish his backstory. If you know, you know that it did make me chuckle. I'm sorry, it's so bad. It is kind of made up for by the fact that the shrinking visuals are solid as ever, but God, I just I can't get over how bad Modoc is. And yeah, the film, the final act, I will admit, is really good. It gives this proper big scale, full on quantum warfare. It's so much fun. Yes, it's the usual Marvel final battle thing, lots of CGI spectacle, but it does a good job of upping the personal stakes as well. It's very satisfying, and you do feel the stakes because you care about the characters. That being said, though, the road to it is a bit rocky. The first act, the pacing is not great. This Like, it starts off fine with the scenes of Scott in San Fran adjusting to his new life, but once we're actually into the quantum realm, it does take a bit to get going because essentially we're just going on these various disparate quests, until the presence of Kang is introduced and properly gets things going. But as I said, it pays off wonderfully in Act 3. As much as they dumbed down Kang here, I did enjoy it, and he was still a physical threat and up the personal stakes big time. And yeah, I will say the MCU going forward is in a good place with Kang introduced and the stakes set. Now you have a clear focus, and I'm really excited to see where it goes from there, especially in regards to Kang. Jonathan Majors was just, yeah, overall I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy myself for the most part, and, despite the issues, I had fun. Oh yeah, the post-credit scenes are really good as well. They are very important and do set up story threads going forward. Particularly, they are mostly Kang-centric, but I think kind of expecting that. So absolutely stay for those. And yeah, those are my thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Let me know down in the comments. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? What do you think of Kang? What do you think of Modoc's CGI face? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget the subscribe button if you're new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.